All right, yogis. So let's come to our first position today, which is Tadasana. So, you're always welcome to take a different opening position, but somewhere where you can just enhance your mindfulness here. I'm going to separate my feet about hips width distance. And I'm going to close the eyes, right? And, I'm doing some light movements here to kind of connect to my body. And I'm lifting my heels, lifting the toes, spreading my toes. I'm really feeling all parts of the feet down. So the mind is becoming more aware of the feet down. I'm running the active energy up the legs a little bit. I'm feeling my thighs and my glutes. I'm starting to pull the belly in and lift the chest. I might roll the shoulders back and down a few times, move the neck. And then at the end here, yogis, I kind of pull the head back and lift the crown of the head straight up. So I'm kind of exaggerating good posture a little bit. And then I relax too, right? A couple deep breaths here now. After the awareness becomes more aware of the body, I turn the perception toward the breath, attempting to feel, experience, guide, control my breath much more than normal. And by I mean the awareness, right? And it's almost like the body and the breath are some separate thing. Big inhale, fill up the lungs. Slow, long exhale. Exhale in much deeper than normal. So there is some muscular action to exhale at the bottom. So this is called isolated breathing, yogis. Doing nothing else but breathing. If you'd like to take a moment for intentional thoughts, maybe visualizing your goals, remembering what you're working on in your life, or maybe emotional, the gratitude meditation, just kind of remembering what a privilege it is to have a healthy body and all of our blessings. So you get the thoughts where you want them to be, you get the emotions where you want them to be. All right, yogis, starting in our dynamic Kriya warm-up. All right, Surya Kriya. Remember, there's many ways to do this. I tend to choose one. That doesn't mean it's going to serve you best. Inhale, arms are going to reach up. Palms are going to face forward, maybe even slightly up. Exhale, I kind of reach for the floor. Okay? Inhale, strong back. I stand up, reach up. Exhale. So the breath is linking to the movement. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Some days I do this a little bit stiffer without the arms, with the hands on the hips. Some days I do it with the spinal rolling. Some days I bind the hands behind me. Up and down with the spine relative to the legs is what we're really doing. Breathing as I'm moving. Be the artist. Some days a little bit kind of sturdier and structured. How's that body need it? Some days a little bit more fluid and almost dancing. Remember, we do about 20 to 50 of these in a meditative, present, intentional form, okay? I'll continue in our opening warm-up. Please take your time. Meet me in standing and start to twist. My back's a little tight today, so I'm starting out pretty light here. I could start to really let that body go a little bit more. Start pivoting those feet, bend those knees a little bit. Get that body moving, please, okay? All right, a little different here. Everyone does know this exercise from class regularly. It is actually like jumping. It's like jump roping. You're welcome to do something like a jumping jack. But it looks like this, yogis. I'm not really jumping. I'm barely jumping, right? I'm gracefully landing. And I want you to try to go about 1 minute and kind of up and down. Really get that breath. Maybe the breath speeds up a little bit. I kind of have a rhythm with the breath, with the light jump. If that's a little too much, yogis, a little kind of jogging in place, I just want you to move a little fast here, okay? Jumping jacks look something like this. That's in a similar category. If you want to get a little bit more, I'm hopping side to side. I'm hopping forward and back, right? I'm twisting in my hop. I want you to, again, combine the new with the habit. On a good day, I want you to actually try something new in the territory. On a not so good day, stick with something a little easier. Okay? So if you always are kind of stuck in what you're always doing, I want you to find those days to progress to new experience, new exercises. Okay, let's continue, please. Shake it out a little bit. Meet me in standing. So a kriya of the lunge. Take this one kind of slow, right? Left leg goes back. You're at the front of your mat. Arms go high. Exhale. Nice and simple. Inhale. The step back lunge. Now, this is our basic form. I want you to get into this, yogis. Really start to feel those legs turning on more. You could add some different things. Twisting, posture, low lunge twist, Tadasana, and a meditative, very aware, intentional movement pattern. How you do the lunge is kind of up to you, right? Here's another one. Ideally, about 10 to 15 per side until you feel the initial tightness or achiness or weakness change. You know, how do we choose how many reps we do? Well, if strength is our goal until the body is fatiguing and failing. If warming up is our goal until we feel an initial change in the condition. This is another one, yogis, the high twist. Let's keep it moving though, yogis, all right? Okay, watch this next little subtle exercise. Step to the middle of your mat. This is subtle, yogis. It's maximum intensity into relaxation. I'm gonna bend my knees a little bit. I'm gonna bring my hands in front of me. I'm gonna engage all my muscles maximum. And then I'm gonna relax. Tadasana. Bend knees, bend elbows, engage everything. Relax everything. Again. Relax everything. Engage everything. Relax everything. 2 to 3 more only at your own pace. Engage your legs more, pelvic floor, belly. Relax everything. Last 2. Remember, we've done this before laying on the back. It's been a while. This idea of the full kind of isometric static contraction into that kind of somatic release where everything is lazy. Okay? Continuing, feet open. So this squats, yogis, all right? We've done this before. It's from our Qigong. A few things coming from the Chinese lineage. The knees are going to bend. Don't let those knees buckle in. My arms are going to reach down. Inhale. So I'm using this for the arm circle. But energetically, yogis, what this represents is the hands pulling a lot of energy toward the upper chakra. So that's your 8th chakra. And you're pulling the higher energies that we're evolving toward in the human consciousness down into the lower chakras. Inhale, swoop up energy into the higher chakra that we're not really using yet and pull it down. Or just squat and arm circle if you want physiology. You can switch directions too. You could also take a few pulses in your squat. Again, I want you to kind of make the energetics of this here started slow, and then it kind of got a little bit more big and wild. How can you change the energy for what you need? Okay. All right, I'm going to keep you going here, yogis. No rush if you're still working your squats. A nice little bit more of a basic pose, just to meditate you for a moment. The tree. If you're feeling good, get that foot up on the inner thigh. I'll let you choose what foot you're doing first. Maybe if you want a little bit more, you bind the knee. Okay. If you're feeling good, you could angle the hip. It's like a pigeon. As long as you're on one foot, kind of slowing down for a moment. Squatting and arm circling, big muscular movements. Now you stabilize. Stand up tall again. Connect to the subtleties of the breathing. Think about it like a plank, a good minute hold, right? Arms down, left foot down. Tadasana, second side, please. Remember, this is a little bit more of our basic tree, a little bit more of that challenging range of motion tree where the heel goes up on the thigh. Here's a little bit more of like an active form. Here's a little bit more of that pigeon complex form, right? So if you can see, I'm actually grabbing the right shin and pulling that shin toward the chest. We call that standing pigeon or Durvasana. Okay, another couple of breaths here, 30, 45 seconds. If you're good at it, yogis, work awareness where you're not, right? Pelvic floor, we call that a bandha. The belly in, and you actually feel your pelvic floor connecting to your abdomen. So you're pulling these in and up together. You're also noticing where you're too tense and relaxing there a little bit. Right? Things like the shoulders or the neck or the face tenses. Where am I stressed? Relax it. Where am I lazy? Activate it. The two extremes kind of merging in the middle. All right, yogis, now that was our subtle moment, slowing you down, stabilizing. And now I want you to get a little bit outside your box here again. I want you to think exploratory movement. The word I always think of is dance. The dance is like the artist in movement, right? They're free. They're not rigid and stuck in any position. Watch how I'm going to explore it. I want you to try to experience something new in movement. In another way, I want you to be weird. Okay, so everything is moving. Look at the arms flapping. Look at the legs trying to flap. Okay, take another minute and get funky. All right, now ideally you turn up a little music. Music's so good for giving you some energy, inspiring you, and that's something we lack in Zoom. All right, I like some yoga without music, and I like a lot of yoga with music. This is definitely a kind of a music moment. See if you can move your scapula a little bit more, or your hips a little bit more. Okay, last few moments here. All right, yogis, so see that even though this is kind of dancey, it's not compared to what we just did. We are challenging your body's ability to move now, all right? Hands on the hips. Knees are gonna bend. To start, I go left, that is our first side bend. I go forward, so this is a swooping circular movement at the core. We do this one a lot, especially in our yoga core classes. It's a big circle, yogis. Don't forget to include the back part, abdominal tension with the glutes turned on. So I'm taking a nice circle. I could even use the arms. Notice if you're going one direction, switch it up. Again, further is not better, yogis. It is more risky. Remember the idea that kind of slower and less range of motion is safer. Okay, so again, you make your choice, but understand where risk is increased. We're almost done with standing yoga. All the standing yoga is in the beginning today, all right? You're going to be on the ground for the rest of the class shortly. So I did mention possibly having a block. If you don't have one, that's okay. I can give you a version. I want to work a resisted pelvic tilt now. This is getting back into balance, and it's getting into the subtle lateral body work. I'll start demoing. You're just doing your dance, posture to posture, movement to movement. So yogis, I'm going to step my right foot on the block. Sometimes it's hard to see in the mat here. My right foot's on the block. Now my target is really the hips, the pelvic girdle. I'm showing you where my fists are so you can see the movement in the pelvis. I'm going to drop my left hip down in space. That lengthens my left side. You can see my left fist is lower. Now the action is lifting the left hip back up, maybe slightly higher. Left hip down, left hip lift. Left hip down, left hip lift. So if you don't have a block, it's hard because you can't get your left foot lower. What do? We just lift the left knee. So it's not this. It's left hip down, left hip higher. Left hip down, left hip higher. At the pelvic girdle. This is important, yogis. Remember our deepest lower back muscle? It's a hip hiker. So it's doing this action. Where yogis usually train this is triangle. But again, we tend to go into a hyper tilt and just hang out down there. This is kind of going like this. It's another way you could do this. Try to feel it and find it. This one's kind of confusing. Remember, these subtle movements are kind of like a puzzle often. You have to feel it to figure it out. Let's continue. Second side, again. So now you can kind of see my waistband. It tilts down to the right and it tilts up. It's all happening in the pelvic tilt. It's very subtle. You got to slow down so you can feel it, guys. You know, there's whole exercise programs and styles created by experts based around pelvic tilt, pelvic stability and mobility. There's a famous gentleman, what's his name? Egoscue, I think his name is. There's Egoscue centers all around LA, right? And you go to them for basically some type of, let's call it physical therapy. And they focus on pelvic stability and they're all like obsessed. So rightfully so, that's their like one of their main focuses there, right? Is pelvic awareness, tilting, right? Really important, yogis, all right? Let's continue. Now, I want to do something subtle here. A lot of you don't make it to Sunday. I want to actually just do a nice light calf raise, okay? So we just did some pelvic tilting, some subtle stuff. We're staying with the subtle for now. Now, this is kind of neutral in the core. You might feel that in your back a lot, especially if you're new to it or having any irritation. We're just going to lift the heels. Kind of pause and lower down, right? Heel lift. Just be easy. This is actually a lot more strenuous than it seems for someone who doesn't do it. Now, what you can't see, yogis, is as I lift, try to notice this. Am I leaning into the ball of the foot and the toes are relaxed? I don't want that. I actually want to lean a slight bit more forward, so your toes have to turn on to not let you go forward. Okay, so it's not just the ankle, it's also the toes resist you going too far forward. Another way you could do it, yogis, is just kind of lift the heels and walk around. We've done this before, it's been a while. I want to strengthen those ankles in an isolated form. A really good way too, if you're feeling good, is to do it on stairs. So your heel could dip below the stair. Your heel could go lower into the opposite hyperrange. Or if you're feeling good, it's 1 foot. All right, last few moments to really work that's your Achilles, right? That lower calf tendon, the soleus muscle ankle. Okay, last moments. Don't forget to strengthen those ankles, yogis, because we do a lot of ankle stuff, but not. This is kind of unique, right? The calf raise where you really isolate. I want you to feel like your feet and ankles, toes kind of fatigue and really get some demand and pressure on. All right, let's continue, yogis. Take your moment, come to the top of your mat. Take a deep breath or two. Just come back to first position, our standing meditation. Before we get to the second part of class here, take a moment, close your eyes. When the breath goes on the back burner, not the focus, you got to check on it again. When the intention, your mind, your thoughts goes on the back burner, you got to check on it. Many things are happening. Come back to your gratitude. That's another thing that got pushed to the back. Let's make our way down to the ground. On your inhale, reach your arms up. On your exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Let's step it back, down dog. All right, weight bearing on the arms now. Take a few breaths to pedal out the dog. You just kind of did that, but then a down dog hold for a few moments. Think about refining your down dog today. Spreading the fingers. My index finger faces forward. So my hands are slightly, barely turned out. So not middle finger facing forward, index finger facing forward, okay? And I really want to try to press the index finger thumb down more. It's called pronation, yogis. You're pressing the inner part of the hand down. The thumb pad is also rolling down. So what happens is I tend to be in down dog. I'm on the outer edge of the thumb. I want to try to roll the pad of the thumb down more. It's almost like the thumb and the index finger pinch together in down dog. See that? But I want to press the padding of my index finger down too. Okay. Try to let the head hang low. Shake the head a little bit, maybe a deep breath, and listen to this pranayama. I'm going to flutter the lips. Big inhale. Do that a few times. Feel the vibration. Big inhale. Flutter the lips. Last moments here. So that's the opening, overhead, arm hold, and inversion. All right. Let's give that a quick break if you're ready. Sit on the heels. Top of the feet are down. So this is the opposite arm position. So my arms go in extension, opposite knee, opposite ankle. Everything is opposite here, yogis. So no cobra, this instead. Hands walk back, shoulders roll back. If you have it, look at the knee lift. This is a big one, okay? It's stretching the top of the feet, front of the ankles, the shin. Okay, so I make this look pretty easy, yogis, where the heels are under the glutes and the knees are lifting higher than the ankles. Let's take our time, releasing that, shaking those feet out a little bit. All right, I'm going to challenge you a few options. You're welcome to do regular chaturangas at this point if something in your comfort zone is serving you today. A little bit more in between. This is called the big swooper, right? This is the Hindu push-up. So it's like a vinyasa, guys. I bend the knees. I bring the chest, the forehead toward the hands. I swoop forward and up. Notice my toes are tucked. All right, so we're going for it now. Watch this one. I lower the chest down like through low plank, and the hips lead me back and up. So it's not like I go forward to plank first. I swoop forward and up. I swoop down, back and up. Inhale, exhale. Now, that is quite difficult if you're new to it and we haven't done much warm-up in the upper body. So how would I warm you up for that maybe? Break it down. I'm going to give you a little time. Overhead, this one, this part. Maybe you get down to your low plank. Up dog, low plank. Up dog, low plank. Up dog, low plank. Up dog. So that's two parts of this. Now the tough part is going from low plank to that overhead bent arm. So I broke this part down, I broke the other part. Now the part we're missing is bent arm overhead to low plank. Bent arm overhead, low plank. Okay, so that's kind of the three parts of that movement. A down dog overhead shoulder push-up. That's not a plank, yogis. Going from low plank to up dog would maybe be second part. And then that really tricky one, where you go from the overhead bent arm, this one, into low plank. Okay, so last few moments, it's the main three parts of the swooping Hindu flow, okay? Last minute here to try. And you can pick one part, yogis, and kind of give it extra effort today. You don't have to kind of do everything every class. You know, you're working towards that swooping and taking a couple sets, rounds of it. You're also welcome to do chaturanga, like I said. But again, that's too habitual at this point for most of us on most days. Repping out some push-ups is fine. We're kind of in upper body challenge mode. Okay. Remember to engage your fingers, right? That's called the Hasta Bandha. You know, I do one-arm balances every day, and my wrists aren't big and muscular, really, right? They're actually very slender. Right, and my wrists never hurt, yogis, because I understand that activating my hands better, so hand intelligence, hand strategy, is what's helping protect the wrist and the hand more. Okay, use your fingers actively. It's called a hand. You're on your hands, so you need to activate them. All right, let's continue, guys. You get a little breather there, but you know, we are still on the wrist. This is a little bit more like a stretch. I'll give some options. Take a moment if you need. Meet me in tabletop. Right leg rises. Turn your right toes out. So we usually do this a little bit earlier in class, almost as a warm-up. This is our half moon today, okay? Now, a lot of ways we can have fun here. I'm up on the fingertips right now. Just to isolate the hand, this is a great place to get up on those fingertips, start to strengthen the hand, the forearm more. Some options could be to stay here, even reach back with your right hand and right foot. Think of this as that cobra, especially if you weren't doing it. You were doing your push-ups or your overheads. So now I'm in this bow type position. Another breath or 3 here. I'm turning the chest more open. I'm trying to engage the butt, pull the belly in. Okay. Now, yogis, I'm going to keep you with this leg lifted. This is our half moon Shavasana. I'm going to release my bind at my pace, turn my right toes down, find my tabletop with my right leg lifted. I'm going to bend my heel to my butt, shift my weight to my right hand. Instead of reaching my left hand forward, I'm going to reach it back, maybe here. Remember, standing yoga tends to lack kind of front body lengtheners, right? Like lunge is our best way usually up there. This is those big back bends starting. So this is our revolved Kalpasana. I'm kicking, pulling the belly in. Active yogis, slow entrance, exits, help protect you. Big inhale, knees down, hands down, okay? Take a moment, a feel-good, dancing moment. Continue, left leg high, right foot behind you, left arm high. Look at my right foot, yogis, it's angled behind me. That's my bottom foot, okay? Left toes open. Arm can go high, belly can pull in. Option for the bind. So you're getting a different angle, yogis. The back body view, okay? Can you work the core more? Through the arm stability, through the big leg work. Slow down the mind, breathe. Slowly release any binds. Turn your left hip down, bring your left hand down. Right arm reaches back. Maybe a bind here. Belly in, please. The kick is the driving pose of the pose. That's our revolved moon style today. This is actually a very big pose. Okay, big inhale. And nice and slow, knee and tabletop. Let's get back into the arms. Down to the forearms. So, yogis, you got some options. If you want to do a plank hold, you know, that was kind of like planks, right? This is kind of like side plank. This is kind of like high plank, just a little more unstable. On the forearms, if you got it, I'm going to get you back to movement now. Something a little bit we don't do enough in yoga in this exact style. It's just kind of bringing those knees to the elbow. Something pretty strong right now, yogis. Sometimes they call those mountain climbers. It's kind of like doing a high knee. You can do it on your hands. You can cross to the opposite elbow. You can even do an arm balance if you're ready. Something on those arms with the core, with the leg movement. Couple more breaths. Stay focused, yogis. Gonna be done with class soon here. Remember, anytime I mention like a plank, you're always welcome to do an inversion instead, like handstand at the wall, headstand. Those are basically a similar category, yogis. Right, so don't be shy to change it up. I'm going to keep you going. Please take your time. Tabletop, right foot forward. All right, yogis, challenge. Hands go at heart or wide. Shift your weight to your left knee, left foot. Right foot hovers. This is a knee shin balance. It's supposed to be unstable. Holding here is first here. For more, right knee next to left, but it hovers. For more, it's almost like a warrior three, but on the shin and knee. For more, half moon on the shin. Balancing. It's supposed to be awkward. Okay, remember there has to be moments of you not in your comfort zone. Just be easy, yogis. If you're new to this, you're not padding that knee enough. Don't try to do exactly all I just did. I take risks. Will that change? Probably. Where are you at? All right. Take a quick breather, maybe cat-cow, shake it out. We're basically going to switch sides. You're on the right knee. This is kind of like just holding tree pose, but on the shin. I'm going to try to shift back into my right foot. Now, I don't want my back to arch. Tuck that tailbone. Lift the chest. Left foot's going to hover. I'm balancing on my right shin. I did bring my left knee back. I'm starting to bring my chest down and my left leg back. Okay, I'm bringing it forward. Go wide. Yeah, basically the goal is a little scary, a little uncomfort. Okay, but again, be easy on that knee, yogis. This is classic. It's called shin balance. I don't really teach it that much, but it is fun. And again, we need things that are taking you to new experiences in yourself. You got to experience your body in new ways, yogis. Can't just do that same old stuff. Okay? All right, yogis, I'm going to continue. I'm going to let you do one round there. That can be, again, really a lot on those hips. All right, take a moment, cat-cow, meet tabletop. So really, guys, this would be inversion. If you have it, that's really strong hips through core. Your arms just kind of had a break, hovering in space. I mean, really, yoga teachers would say headstand, right? Or forearm stand, or headstand hold, handstand hold. So we come to a point in class where we say peak inversion. You know, what's that big pose that you're working on or intimidates you a little bit? Handstand up the wall. If you don't got it, legs up the wall. So I'm not doing things like three-legged dog, yogis. You could also do something like that. Remember, our easiest way to start handstand is actually to do down dog with your buttocks facing the wall, and then you walk the feet up the wall. It's not to jump up and slam your heels at the wall with your back facing the wall. It's actually to walk your feet up the wall. Okay, now just make sure you don't dump your hips down. The actual hips go back over the wrists, the shoulders. So it's like a 7, it's like an L. So peak inversion of class, 40 minutes in here. Ideally, you get up and you hold. And you breathe in a full upside down inverted body. This is Hatha Yoga, very classic. Remember, headstanders, particularly, you want to exit like slow, and after your headstand, we suggest decompressing the neck. We being people who are experienced in headstand, you know, on that release. And you don't want to tense the neck up immediately. People sit up too fast, and you want to kind of you hold the child pose, the down dog or the forward bend. You let the neck decompress to soften a little bit. Okay, we'll give you another minute in inversion opportunity.
Shoulder stand is kind of usually the first inversion, right? Usually we can hold that one the longest with minimal strain, less straining. And legs up the wall is kind of your child pose, and legs up the wall are easiest in the frontal and posterior inversions. All right, so if you get traditionally trained in Hatha Yoga, child pose and down dog are the same, forward bend and headstand are the same, shoulder stand and legs up the wall is kind of the same, right? Easier and stronger, depends on the day. Now I'm going to keep you going, guys. We're not quite done here yet. Seated position is next. So a lot of forward bending, we have to hit this back bending, and I'm going to get you a little bit more dancey now, yogis. We come to our final kind of tier of class. Stretching is just around the corner. Meet me in a seated position. Now, if you want to watch me quick, that's probably good because it's a little dance. Now, we've done a lot of up table and reverse plank and flip dog, so you're good at this. We will do a couple different rounds. Watch what I do. My left knee bends, my right hand goes behind me. Inhale, flip dog. Exhale, seated, left leg forward. Dandasana. Right foot bends, left hand behind me. Inhale, flip dog. So this is like our bridge, our wheel, guys. Exhale, you can forward bend if you want. Left foot bends, right hand behind me. Inhale, flip dog. Dandasana. Right knee bends, heel behind, inside hip. Left hand, so if my right knee bends, remember yogis, it's the opposite hand behind me. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last few tries. So it's this kind of flip dog alternating. Okay? Try it. I'm just, we have a small group of regulars today, so I'm kind of, you guys know these poses, just kind of done in a little different way. All right? All right, second round, shake it out a little different. So instead of going here, yogis, with the knee bent to the sky, watch me. Left leg is going to bend. Now, this is where it gets a little different. If my left leg is the one that bent, it's the left hand that goes behind me now. So it was just opposite leg to foot. Watch. Gate pose. Left knee in Konasana. Switch legs. Same idea, little different. Watch this angle if you're a little confused. Right knee bends. Now my knee is not up like this like previous. And again, if now my right knee bends, my right hand goes behind me. Okay? Try to use your butt like a bridge, guys. Your butt's gonna turn on. Right leg forward. Left knee bends. Left hand behind. Thrust, bridge. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. A different way of training our back body, very more asymmetrical, very, much more exploratory than just a linear bridge today. And it's okay if you don't want to do it this way, I don't mind. If you need regular bridges today, good self-awareness. All right, shake it out. We've done this one before. Third round. Now this is the double straight leg. You had two different knee bends, one opposite, one same side, just like Chapasanas earlier, same. Now I'm going to widen those legs. This is our fallen triangle. We did not do warrior two. This is similar with those legs. One externally rotates, one internally rotates. This is warrior two legs right there, right? See that? So you hit this. This is fallen triangle dance, yogis. Okay? Really a nice one here. Now my feet not left. That means my inner edge of my right foot, outer edge of my left foot. Right arm sweeps around, fallen triangle. This is our back bends, yogis. Butt drops down. That's the tricky part. That exit. Heels go, feet go right. Arm goes behind. Hips left. Seated straddle. Hips lift. Seated straddle. We've done it before. Last few moments here. I'm working you today. A lot of kind of weird stuff, all right? You know what happens when we do the weird classes. We bring it back around to fundamental traditional stuff. But a lot of days it's the new, it's the awkward, the weird. Okay, I got one more challenge for your back bend. You know, extra caution in this. Again, I love this movement. I don't teach it much because it's challenging, but you guys are really experts at these two poses. So the two postures is basically straddle and pigeon. We just did Konasana and the knee bend. This is the other one. Now, it's like the half Konasana, but it's actually Siddhasana, where I turn on the top of the shin. I want to use my hands. I want to turn to the left, the knee that's bent. Inhale, active pigeon. Watch. Exhale, straddle. Inhale, active pigeon. Watch those knees, yogis. You know, I don't really get any knee issues, but I've heard, you know, people who have things going on in the knees, maybe you're a runner, certain anatomical things, you had an injury in a muscle around the knee, that changes the rules. So look at this. I go from a straddle, it's called Prasarita, into a skillful half. I turn toward the knee, I'm in a pigeon. I can even go further and turn left more. But all the while I'm staying up and upright. And then I switch legs skillfully. I pivot to the right. This is also part of our back bend here. And this is kind of like our forward bend. Back bend. Look how I went from being toes up to toes down, heel up. You can try that movement repetitive. This is last back bend, okay? Another way to break this down is that one side. Right toes to the ceiling, facing open. Turn to the left leg, the bent knee, my toes turn down. Now, yogis, my knee is hovering. I'm active. Butt down, right toes to the sky. And I can kind of dance between pigeon, half Konasana straddle. You know, you do it like this too, right? There's a lot of ways that yogis dance here. Pigeon, half Konasana. Pigeon, half Konasana. Last try or two. This is it for back bending. It's basically stretching after this, yogis. What's nice is, you know, eventually all this stuff is thrown in. I've mentioned we would add this in a vinyasa flow. We would even add things like wheel pose. A lot of these postures we tend to like kind of hold, and eventually you're kind of putting everything together. And you go from pigeon to a standing tree or something, right? Or pigeon in a shin balance. Remember shin balance? The vinyasa is the highest creative form of yoga, where you're feeling really good and it becomes this exploratory process. Hatha yoga in general tends to be a little, more structured and controlled, let's say. And the vinyasa is like the peak of hatha yoga. All right. Now, we are here in the end, guys. Got about 7-8 minutes left. And, how would I pick our stretching? Based off what we didn't do, right? I wouldn't really suggest pigeon. You just did it. Straddle. You just did it. We don't need it. Okay. So I'll pick those stretches that we're not doing as much. I'm going to actually lay it down on the chest. We haven't been there. So swing it around the tabletop. We tend to do this one, yogis, on the Sunday. Let's get it done today. Right arm reaches out on the chest. Open up to the left. Take a breath or two. Now, if you don't feel it, don't forget to be easy, because we now enter into rotator cuff, those smaller, deeper muscles. I am back on my chest, still on the same side. I bend the arm about a 90-degree angle. And I'm rolling open again, stacking shoulders and hips, taking 3 breaths here. I like to sometimes roll the ankle, bend and straighten my top knee, even bring the knee almost in like a hip circle. Okay, continue. Chest, left arm out. I'm doing the bent arm as a demo. Remember, it looks like this, yogis. The elbow is like slightly higher than the shoulder. Remember, other stretches are welcome. I'm picking a few, and doesn't mean it serves us all perfectly. But it's stretch time. It's kind of calming down. Comfort zone more. Please take your time, all right? I want to do, if you notice, a big back bending class today, a lot of front line lengtheners, all right? I'll meet you in the Sphinx pose, yogis, all right? So we got some options. Sometimes I like to rock the hips in Sphinx. So I'm kind of rolling a little, side to side. You could even bend the knees. So it's a hip rotation and spinal hip extension, right? It's really an unreal release. But the big stretch I'm going to give you is one of the frog poses. Be easy. This is the dynamic, easier version. Elbows under shoulders, chest lift, left forearm in, right hand to right foot. This came from the nice twist. Get into that front line release. I'm getting a little lazy. I'm going to lift that chest a little bit more. Bring the right shoulder forward, right hip down, and press my pubic bone actively down. I'll switch sides. Left hand, left foot, pull heel to butt, lift chest, push left hip, pubic bone down. From the chest, release. Biggest twist of class. Right knee goes out wide. Right arm reaches a little forward to start. Left arm underneath right armpit. Right arm up. Now this is our reclining single leg twist, but entered from the chest. Even though it's the same form, it feels quite different when we enter from the chest. Okay, so take your time. It's the upper body kind of leading into the big rotation as opposed to the knee going across. Okay, deep breath here, yogis. Sometimes I like to move the neck a little bit, the ankles, the wrists, these kind of end of the kinetic chains. I'm like rolling my ankles, wrists, moving my neck, even moving my jaw a little bit. Yogis, if there's other stretches, now's the time, right? I'll release my right foot, roll back to my chest. Left knee wide, left arm forward, right arm over to the left, right palm up. Left arm reaches up, I start to roll toward my back. And again, I do a little end of the kinetic chain movements where you're moving the head, the jaw, the elbows, the wrists, the knees, toes. All right, yogis. So a challenge, downward facing Shavasana. I've been trying to mix this in more. Very traditional in yoga, right? This is the pranam. Remember I told you when I went to India, I spent so much time relaxing face down. You can get comfortable, pad your forehead with your hands. You can turn an ear down slightly. Your big toes touch, your heels fall apart. And I want you to feel the difference between the downward Shavasana, connecting the front body to the earth. You know, you feel this kind of much more connection to the grounding sensation. You're much more connected to that earth element than when maybe you lay on the back. Closing meditation, please. Coming back into the subtle calming intention. Relax, yogis, let go here.